welcome to
Have Pesca.
It's been a while.
No, it hasn't.
Oh yeah, it's only been a week.
It has been a week. We've been a little bit more, or trying to be more consistent, doing it a week. K2, okay, do you need to go to the bathroom?
I don't.
K2 has been.
We don't need to talk about this right now.
If you need to go, then please go because I need you.
1 hour podcast is going to be all good in the hood. Come on, let's go. Let's do this thing.
K2, how are you feeling today?
We have crisis at store.
K2, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, but I was getting started because I'm ready to go.
So are you feeling good? What have you been doing? How's your weekend been?
Feeling good. This is our first week of no wedding or photography shoot or anything. This is such a weird feeling to not have work when we don't have work.
It's been nice. It's been really nice, I will say. It's been wonderful to relax a little bit. We had a long week of work and travel. Well, I didn't travel. K2 traveled. You're traveling again, oh my gosh, tomorrow.
Yep, I have to
Today's Sunday.
Go pick up my rental car today, and it's going to suck because traveling really just makes it harder to live your life. Like, you know how you go to your 9 to 5 and you get home at 5 o'clock or whatever, 6 o'clock, and you're like, okay, now I get to do my own thing. When you're traveling for work, you just work. Like, I get done at 5, and then I got to just work because I'm already there, right? I can't.
Out of state.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I don't have, it's like I'm working 24 hours a day rather than, 12, or not 12, 8.
Well, yeah, and you can't even, most of the time I'm not there, so we're also just apart. So it's things don't feel quite normal when you're traveling. Because I'm here alone too. I'm not traveling. Luckily, I don't have to do that for work. But just being here alone, it's really lonely and quiet. What are you doing?
No, you keep talking. I just want to make sure the audio is
staring into the camera, everyone. It's working.
It looks great.
Sit down. Okay. Oh my God. It's hard to keep you focused today. This is what I have to deal with, people. It's very hard to keep this man focused. It takes a lot of effort and energy from my end. And
do you guys like my shirt? It has glasses on it.
Do you see what I'm talking about? Perfect example.
Very nice shirt.
Yep. Great shirts, K2.
Do you want to get started?
If you need to go poop, then you should.
No,
because
I'm good.
It's making you extra anxious.
Stop it.
Okay. Anyways, this week's topic, I think most people know because I put it on my Instagram story, the Half Pesca Instagram story, because I want to get some feedback from people as well, which we'll dive into a little bit later. But this week's episode is about having a quarter life crisis. I already have everything.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I'm already ahead of it. All right, don't even worry. I felt this was a really relevant topic for us to discuss. One, because a lot of people don't talk about it, and I feel like they should. And I don't know, maybe there's just not awareness of it. I don't know, because you always hear the term midlife crisis, and so I feel like that's what people tend to think of first when they think of having some sort of crisis in your life. The midlife one, not the quarter life one for people in their mid-20s.
Let me put quarter life crisis into perspective, okay? What is happening in your quarter life situation, right? So, for example, you are just graduating college. You are trying to figure out all of the things about living alone. You are going through all these changes.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's going to happen. And sometimes you get put into really difficult situations.
Well, and see, this can apply to everybody. Like you said, there are so many different ways that you feel like you can be having one. And I feel like the biggest tells of having something like this is, one, what's your purpose in your life? You might not even be sure what that is anymore. Two, maybe you're just very anxious and overwhelmed about the future and not super sure what that looks like. Number three, maybe you're isolating yourself because of all this, and just there are so many different, it's like sometimes you don't fully think, I've been experiencing this, and I haven't been thinking, I'm having a quarter life crisis until somebody kind of put it into perspective for me. I'm like, I don't know that this is what I even want with my life anymore. I mean, this is going to be a little bit of a deeper episode, but we're going to try and keep it lighthearted as well, because it is something that a lot of people go through, and it is important to talk about, and especially since, I don't know if you feel like you're experiencing this, but I definitely absolutely am.
I think it happens a lot more. It's a lot more common nowadays because I don't know. At least what I've seen in like the past, a lot of people just work to work. Like they just did the job and they were happy with it. They just did it, right? Now, Gen Z, millennials, we're not like the normal boomer / Gen X type of people where it's like we'll just take it and go with it. We gotta like be happy, right?
Well, yeah, and the thing is too, it's like, I've had people say to me, like, just do your job. Like, you don't need to have feelings about it. Like, you don't need to care about it. You just do it to do it. You make money, you live your life, whatever. To me, that's so bland and ignorant, because it's like you deserve to be happy and to have joy in your life and not to just do something to do something.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to talk to people who are closed-minded like that. And almost with our generation, it's almost like people just woke up and it's like, oh, like this generation of people is not afraid to talk about their feelings, which I think is really great, because you can't just ignore your feelings and how things affect you. People actually are talking about it now, which if you were to ask maybe somebody who's a little bit older, I don't know if they would feel the same. And so now it's hard though, because a lot of people view that as weak. And that's kind of how I'm feeling in this situation. Weak and lazy. And it's like, how dare you feel like this? I mean, granted, I understand that there are so many people in the world that would, love to have this kind of opportunity to work and have the things that we all, like a lot of people do. But that doesn't mean that you have to enjoy it. Like, yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying. It's just, it's difficult to kind of put yourself, it's difficult to like think about how, you have a job, you're making money in this terrible economy and inflation situation. And a lot of people think, okay, you're in a good state and you should be happy for what you have. Whereas a lot of times people don't see like, okay, well, I may have the ability to pay my bills, but it's not like I am getting to live my life. You know what I mean? Like live my life the way I want to live it. Like we're trapped in this little like cycle of, oh, got to pay my bills, so I have to work this job that I don't enjoy doing. And so there's this just cycle of unhappiness that after a while, yeah, you can do this for like 5-10 years and be fine. But then like, what then? Like you can't just do this for the rest of your life and be okay. I don't think it's possible. I think that eventually there's a breaking point, and that's where people have their midlife crisis. Whereas, too. Well, that's where I'm saying is like people usually will go 10, 15 years into this cycle and then have their midlife crisis. Yeah. Whereas now I feel like this generation is starting to realize that a lot earlier, be like, oh, wow, corporate life isn't for me, or I don't want to be doing this specific job, or whatever it may be. And they're getting this realization a lot earlier on. Yeah. Yeah, no. Do you agree?
I totally agree. And I think that's kind of where I'm at, because, I'm 24, I'm going to be 25 this year. And it's funny now. I thought I had it all figured out, right? Mm-hmm. I'm at the quarter life point, really. I mean, well, I don't know, maybe. I guess if you think quarter, yeah, whatever. I thought I had a lot figured out, or at least like most of it, I graduated with a degree, and I found a career in that field, which I'm so lucky to be able to say that, oh, I went to school for what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I'm married. I got married early. We have a house. We have a cat. We have great friends and family. We have our side business. We stream. We do this podcast. We have so many things going for us. And I don't even think that I realized fully how I was feeling. I don't know. I mean, probably like a few months ago is when I really started to hit me a lot harder, because I just felt, I mean, I've said this honestly from the beginning, of our marriage, like when everything changed for us, I would say, Sakatu, that every day feels the same for me. I'm just doing what I need to do. I'm living the same thing every day. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't feel any different. Nothing is new or exciting to me. This is just a continuous loop of things that I'm doing, and I feel stuck. And that was so much of the first, I don't know, would you say like a
I'd say that's
year?
the first year.
The first year of like figuring everything out, right? And
Yeah.
then, I was working and doing everything, and as I started to get more into that, I was like, thinking to myself, is this really what I want to do? I don't know. I've gotten here. I've climbed up the ladder to the success that I wanted to achieve. I'm here. Why don't I feel like I've really made it? Like I'm here, like I'm happy, like this is bringing me joy. Why don't I feel that way? And it's all of a sudden when you start to feel that you're so confused at, do I even want this? Is this
Yeah.
my purpose? Is this my goal in life? What purpose do I serve? I don't even know what I'm doing. Do I bring anything to the table? Blah, blah. I mean, it's like a nonstop overload of questions that you keep asking yourself. And if you can't answer them, that's when you start to have this crisis.
Yeah. And it's really hard to get into the zone of coming to that conclusion because you put your entire life to get to where you are.
Yeah.
So like college, your high school, getting into the college you wanted to because of high school, and then like getting your degree from college and then coming into a full-time job. And so now you've got everything you wanted. You've worked for it and you don't like it. Like that realization is like the pinnacle of what causes a crisis, or what causes people to like break down, burn out. And it is something that needs to be talked about. And how can you handle that situation? You can't just run away from it. You can't just
No, 'cause
like
it's your life.
stop.
Yeah.
You have to pay your bills. You have to figure something out. So like, what can you do to get out of that situation?
Well, and that's the thing. Just like all you're saying, like you've worked your whole life to get to. I mean, yeah, we are in our 20s, and truly, we've not worked, but we've gone to school, we've done internships, whatever. We have worked to get to this point in our lives, which society makes you think that that's what you need to do to be successful, when you cannot pin any vision of success on any of the on any on any of the same people. Like you and me have different versions of success, right? If we were to take a poll of 10 random people, they're going to be successful in their own different ways. That doesn't mean they're working a corporate 9 to 5. That doesn't mean that they're doing it just is really hard to paint a vision of success for everybody when they all have so many different versions of what they're passionate about, what they want to do, what they're good at, anything. So it's like
Yeah.
you're made to believe that you go to school for this long, you have to go to college to get a degree, you have to work a corporate job to be successful.
Yeah.
That's so not true.
Yeah.
And it's when you realize that you're like, oh my gosh, what
Yeah.
am I doing?
And for some people, it may be true. Like, you got to think about, like, what I would suggest to not get into a situation like this. I wish I had done this. Okay. I wish I had done this kind of process. I wish first I created an actual career path of where I wanted to go, which I did. I created before I even like got into college. I said, hey, this is what I want to be. This is where I want to be in 10 years. This is where I want to be in 15 years. And like I had this career path of what is possible and what I can do. But something I didn't do was, what does this person actually do? Can I go job shadow them? Can I go see what they're doing on a daily basis? And not just a day, not just seeing what they do for one day, seeing what they do for a week or a month, and getting to know the process of what it's actually like to do this specific task. Okay. If I had gone back to my high school, college, like first year of college, and done this job shadowing or gotten to see where I wanted to be, I feel like I would have changed my mind right then and there and not made the mistake of going for this goal that I didn't even know the outcome to. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like a lot of people just go and because their parents told them, because the society told them, because this is the highest paying job, they just do it, right? They just go for that goal and do whatever they need to get to that goal. But then when they get there, they're like, oh, wow, this doesn't really make me happy. I don't think I can do this for the rest of my life. And then all the years you took to be able to get there are technically not wasted, but
It feels like
it feels like it. And that really can tear a person down. So being able to figure out what you want to do is a great thing, but actually going to see what that person is going to be doing, finding somebody you want to be and seeing what they do on a daily basis, I think could really help you understand, is this something you could actually see yourself doing? Do you agree?
Well, yeah, and I also think it's fair to note too that you can't just shadow somebody and think, "Oh, I want to do this. This is going to make me happy." Like for me, it took me a long time to figure out maybe this isn't what I want to do my whole life.
And that's why I said, like, you should not just do it for a day. You should, like, definitely shadow them for over a week or two or month and actually get to learn what they're doing and what skills they're using. So then if you want to actually be that person, if you actually want to do what they're doing, master the skills that they're using on a daily basis and then figure out, are you good at this? Do you enjoy this? And then make that decision of, okay, let's work towards it.
Well, I feel like a statistic, I can't remember this exactly, but you have to think about the amount of times that people change their career paths. Mm-hmm. That's something that I'm really trying to keep in mind right now, because in my head, I think, oh, I went to school for this. It's a waste for me if I don't use this, because I don't know. It's totally not, but why do I feel that way? I almost feel like I don't have any other skills that I can bring to another job. And I think that is a big component of what I'm feeling right now and what's making all of this so hard for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just difficult to be to be in that situation.
It is. I mean, truly, I don't know. I've felt really, really lost and very confused for a long time. And I didn't realize it at first, but things just started to get harder and more I just started to feel a lot more burnout a lot quicker than I used to. And not knowing what's next. I'm a huge planner. Not that I can plan my future, but I like to have an idea. Not even having any kind of idea of what I want to do is so scary to me. Mm-hmm. And I know that a lot of people probably are feeling that. It's just really hard because I want to switch out, eventually, probably of my area. But what else am I good at?
Yeah.
And can I find a job doing that? Or do I want to focus on our media, photography and videography business? Or I don't know.
It's a lot to think about. The last thing you have to remember is that no matter what, everything will eventually work out.
It will, but it's hard to see in the time that you're feeling the worst.
Exactly. And it's just something that, it won't happen overnight. It's not something that as long as you acknowledge it, as long as you're like, okay, I'm not the biggest fan of this. Let's do everything we can to get out of this specific situation, job, whatever it may be. And then let's try and work towards something that you actually are passionate about. And let's say you're in a situation where, you figure out, okay, I'm not passionate about this. I don't think this makes me happy, but you don't know what else makes you happy, right? Like, how do you find those things out? And those are the kinds of situations where you need to start reaching out to like mentors, figuring out who can make a good connection for you to be able to go talk to somebody who has a little more experience, who has had different kinds of jobs, who has had like business experience of what you want to learn, has had the education of what you want to learn. And I think that is something that can also help you get to where you want, but it's not going to happen overnight. It could take 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get to where you want to go. And you just have to keep that in the back of your head. Like, that's the end goal. It's going to take time, and eventually you'll get there.
Yeah. And I mean, I have a little bit of an end goal of me. I just want to find, right now, my goal is I want to find something that makes me happy, because it's really not worth it to do something that you're not happy doing, that doesn't bring you joy, or if it just makes things harder for you, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
And I've seen that for I don't know. I mean, I've been feeling this way for a long time, and it's been really hard. And you just, like you said, you just have to have there's always going to be light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to figure out something that's going to make it better for you. You have to have, I have you to support me. I've got Sylvie.
Sylvie's a
got
good
my
one.
great family and my friends, and it's just it's really hard when you feel like most things that you do don't really bring you joy, because me personally, I'm constantly thinking about this. I'm a huge thinker, and it's all I think about, and I feel like it has started to affect some of my relationships with people, which has been really hard. Sorry, I have something in my chest. It's challenging in a lot of ways. It's not easy. So many people go through it. And yeah, you just have to try and remember every day, like, it can't get worse than this, right? Like, I'm going to find something someday that makes me happy, that I'm going to love doing.
Yeah.
It's going to make all of this worth it. This is such a short period of my life that I'm feeling this way. The rest of it, someday we'll have kids, but then it's like, oh my gosh, that's another feeling that I'm having, or thought that I'm having, that I'm worried about. Am I going to have this figured out by when we have kids? I don't know when I want to have kids, blah, blah, blah. It's like, overall, you think you've climbed the ladder to success, you get there, you don't feel like anything is right, then that feeling of confusion and not knowing what's next is just, feels like there's just a void in your life where you don't know what's happening, what's going on. And so just keeping all of what you said in mind, and always having some kind of goal, having a good support system of people around you, people in your life. That's really the best kind of thing that you can do, to try and keep yourself hopeful. And not to be deep, but that's what it is.
Yeah, it's true. It's just something that we got to work out. And a lot of you have also commented and asked us a few situations they've been in, or commented about different situations they've been in.
Yes.
And we definitely wanted to address those.
Well, I got so much feedback. Oh my gosh. 86% of people that responded to our stories said yes, they have experienced some kind of quarter life crisis, whether that be with career goals, with purpose, with big change, with stress, social isolation, relationships, and just overall not knowing what's next. So pretty much, I would say, ton of people have struggled with this. Yeah, understandably so. We live in such a strange world nowadays.
I want to address each one of those. And for example, the social isolation.
Yes.
This is an important one. If your work has the ability to go in.
Go in.
Don't stay at home, even though it's easier. You can wake up whenever you want. Yeah, whatever. But to have social interaction every day.
That was huge for me.
Is very important. As humans, we are not meant to be alone.
No, remember that statistic that you said a while back?
Yeah.
I wish you could flash back to that.
Which one is it?
It was being lonely.
Oh yeah, being lonely.
Dying more than smoking.
Yeah, so being lonely is the equivalent of smoking a few cigarette packs a day or something like that. It's just as bad for you as smoking daily. And so it's one of those things, if you have the ability to go in. If you have a work from home job, that's awesome. But figure out ways that you can go to a coffee shop and work in a more not isolated environment. Try and figure out different groups of people. If you have friends who also work from home, how can you all get together and work for 8 hours a day? And it doesn't have to be every day, but once a week or something like that.
Just something so that you're around people, because it made all the difference to me a big difference when I started going in a lot more and seeing people. And K2 and I work at the same company, so we'll have lunch together, which has been really good for me.
Yeah.
Because even at work, I get very, very, very anxious, which don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm feeling all of these things, and then I get all freaked out.
I think everybody experiences that specific thing, because
I feel
we've been isolated for so long.
Yes.
We never got to experience working with people.
Yeah. I was just going to say, overall, I just feel like it's hard. I love where I work, it's a great place, but just, I think working stresses me out so much now because I am facing this crisis and not knowing what I want to do next. And thinking about all of that while I'm at work during the job that I'm doing, it's stressful.
Mm-hmm. It can be.
Yeah.
For sure.
So let's talk a little bit more about social isolation. You have to find things that are going to make, like you were saying, that make this better for you. And I can honestly say that one thing that has made my days better for me is when I go in the office and like go get a good workout in or something. That's really made things easier for me. And being around a group of people that, you know, all have fitness goals and are excited to do that thing while you're there with them. They're all so excited and like, so it makes it easier for you. And then like you were saying, hanging out with friends, try and do that. Try and put yourself around some people because just like you said, again, you have to have people in your life. Like we're not meant to be alone. We're meant to be with people. So I just wanted to comment on that. We can move on to, we already talked a lot about career goals, but we can talk about.
What were the other things that people had said?
Oh, well, I have all kinds of things. Let's see. Okay. So I asked people, what do you struggle with? This is a good answer. Not knowing what's next. Oh my gosh, why can't I say this?
Social isolation.
Isolation. In parentheses, moving to a different country for work.
Yeah, that would suck.
That
because
would
then
be
you're
hard. You're leaving everything that you know.
Yeah, that would suck. In those situations, you just gotta find a good friend group and go out and figure something out because you need to find like people who have the similar interests as you and that you can fall back on in case something happens.
Yeah, the best thing you can do is just try and branch out. I mean, I know it's hard, but branch out and meet other people that are going to help you get through the situation because I could not imagine doing that personally. So good luck. Best of luck. Another answer is comparison and comparing yourself to other people, whether that be maybe with other people's success or whatever it is.
Comparison nowadays is everything. I feel like people always compare. Oh, you make more money than me. Oh, you got a better job than me. Oh, you got a better car than me.
Social media has played
Social
in all
media
this.
is the reason,
so
for sure,
messed up.
Whenever you think about comparison, you got to think like you are alive and well. You don't know what is going on in that other person's life.
Exactly.
You don't know the situations they're in. They might have, family issues. They might have people behind the scenes. They might have financial issues, but they just put out there that they are, making, like, sometimes you can't take everything so seriously.
Well, yeah, and everybody's got their own battles that they go through. You can't look at somebody and know what's going on. You have no idea what's going on beneath the surface because they could have a million different things going on and you just see the positive side of their life on social media because nobody posts negative stuff on social media. It's always positive. It's always, trip to Cancun or yacht cruise. Wait, no, I don't think.
Going to California,
I don't think people go on
Italy.
A yacht cruise. I think people just go on a cruise.
Yeah.
But things like that. I've taken lots of breaks from social media because I needed to grow in the sense that I wasn't comparing myself to people. I needed to deal with that and learn to love myself a lot more first, which can be the hardest thing to do. And it's not fair for you to compare yourself, which everybody is amazing in their own ways. Do not compare yourself to anybody else because that's just not fair to you and you deserve better. Mm-hmm. The next one is worrying about the future. So that's a big part of quarter life crisis. It's like, especially, I feel like after COVID too, that changed. People's futures were so uncertain for so long.
Well,
everything was so different and challenging for so many people in so many different ways.
Yeah, uncertainty of future is huge, especially with the current state of the economy.
Well, yeah,
I love to talk about finances.
Life is just too expensive. That's the thing.
Now it's like some people can't even put money towards their retirement, and like that's just difficult. Like that's to think about not being able to do that can be really stressful. And honestly, you got to prioritize your current life right now than retirement sometimes, because it's like, okay, well, I got to survive right now to make it to retirement. So, it's one of those things where you just kind of have to focus on what's happening now, get that straightened out. Once you get that straightened out, you'll be able to focus on the future and make sure you plan accordingly. But
well, just to go off the economy, go to the grocery store and see how expensive all that stuff is. How much is a carton of eggs? Like $5? I mean, come on. That milk, like the basic essentials that you need to survive. Okay, that's dramatic, but that you need to, but yeah, kind of, to have in your fridge, to whatever thing, you have to have food, in your household.
Yep.
It's like, it's so expensive now just to live. It's insane to me. I will never understand it. And, it's very tough. Basically, the world we live in now it's crazy. There's so much going on. Everything is expensive. Even cars, just because in the future, we want a new car. We're looking at cars. They're like ridiculously expensive.
I don't know how people can buy cars right now.
I don't know how people can buy anything. It's nuts.
A brand new car costs like over 40 grand, which is, to me, I don't get it, but I don't know. I don't know.
Somebody else said it came in waves for me, one quarter life crisis after another.
Mm-hmm.
And they can totally be spaced out like that. It's like you can have one thing going on, then you think you're better, and then, it happens again. It can just keep happening. Like one thing after another happens.
And those are the times when it's like, it can get very tough because you're like, okay, what am I doing wrong, right? But you just kind of have to, you just have to keep your chin up and figure it out one step at a time. It's going to happen. I know it happens to a lot of people when they're like switching jobs. You think you're going into, it's those situations where it's like you think it's greener on the other side type of thing. When it's not always, and that could put you in even a worse situation. But you got to try those things out to be able to gain those experiences and get into the situation you want to get into. So,
yeah, and that can just happen when you feel like the world's just beating you down. You feel like you can't do anything right. Just try your best, keep your chin up, surround yourself with people that are going to make you feel better and support you and lift you up. That's really the best you can do. Just know that tomorrow is always going to be a better day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Next one is don't know what my aim is. What am I good at? What are my interests?
This just takes time.
That's how I feel. Help.
This just takes time. It's like, okay, you got to try out a lot of different things, and like in America, we're taught to pick something good.
Stick with it for the rest of your life.
And just stick with it. Have you guys ever seen B-Movie? This is a great...
Oh my gosh.
Great representation, okay?
Watch B-Movie.
Watch B-Movie because it'll give you the perspective of, okay, like this guy, he's like 3 years old at this point, right? Like
no,
3 days. 3 days.
3 days old.
3 days old, and he's like, he has to pick... I'm gonna spoil... This is a very old movie, so hopefully you already watched it.
Seen it.
But like, what happens is... He's 3 days old, and he already has to pick what he's going to do for the rest of his life, right? And he picks something, and he hates it, so he goes out and does something else, and he likes it a lot more. But to do that, he has to do a bunch of, he has to jump over a few hoops.
He does a lot of soul searching.
That's exactly right. And so, the whole movie is a perspective of life, right? We're just planned to, like, in high school, we focus down, we study really hard to get into the college we want, which that will give us the ability to apply for the program we want to apply for. And then once we apply for the program, you study for 4 years straight. And then once you study for 4 years straight, you get into the job you want, and then you stick with that job for the rest of your life, and you are happy.
And you do it till you die.
That is the pinnacle of what is supposed to happen. Whereas I would say 50%, maybe more than 50%, that is not the case for people. It's just we're not made to do the same thing every single day.
Well, you're just going to get so burnt out.
Yeah.
It's not realistic.
And so I think it's a very important movie, everybody. That's the goal of this topic. Watch B-movie.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and it's so hard, especially when you feel like you're doing the same thing every day. You're going to get burnt out.
Yeah.
And just the best thing to do is try and switch it up a little. So next one, this is from one of our friends who makes videos. Can't think of any videos to make.
Can't think of any videos to make. So,
Coming up with creative ideas and doing different things, it is so hard.
There's only one way that I know of coming up with new video ideas, and that's hanging out with other people. Because they have just different perspectives, different ideas, bouncing off ideas with other people and stuff. And going out doing things you wouldn't normally do can bring up new ideas for anything. Not just videos, but like if you want to start a business, what kind of business do you want to start? What kind of problems do you see in the world that you could solve? Figuring it out that way.
And this person just wrote, I'm struggling with life.
Everybody's struggling with life. Just remember that. Not one person on this earth is not struggling with life, even billionaires.
You heard it here first.
That's the truth. And life, struggling at life is what makes life.
Yeah. And seriously, like I had no idea. Nobody talks about this. Oh my gosh, nobody talks about this. You have no idea that things are going to just keep getting harder as you become more consciously aware of things. Like when I was 5 years old, I just was focused on, I'm going to go play outside with little Billy. I don't know. It's so different than the issues that you have now.
If life was easy, everybody would be happy. If life was, if being a millionaire was easy, everybody would be a millionaire. If making money was easy, everybody would be making bank every day. So it's not
hard.
easy. Nothing is easy. And we all have to remember that as well. It's going to take work. There's no such thing as you can just stay home and do nothing all day. That's never going to happen. You have to work. You have to do what you're passionate about, yes, but you also sometimes you have to make some sacrifices to get there.
Just remember that everybody's in this boat.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks life is easy. Mm-mm. I swear if you were to ask a million people, they'd all say life is hard. You have to work for what you want, you have to work at things, you have to work at relationships, it's hard and it's always going to be a struggle. It's never just going to come easy to people. Yep. Someone else said they're struggling with work-life balance. Yes, absolutely. This is a big thing that so many people struggle with, especially when your job is very demanding.
This is a big thing a lot of people struggle with, but you also have to keep in mind there's a lot of people out there who want to climb the ladder as fast as they can. For those people, you can't have a work-life balance. You're going to have to work a lot more. I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends who are in those kinds of situations where they're like, okay, I want to work until I get to where I want. And that's what makes them happy, and that's completely fine.
Yeah,
if that's what you want to do it. But if you want to have like a work-life balance, you have to prioritize 5 p.m. cutoff, no more work. And it's very difficult to do, especially when you're getting emails and texts every second from boomers. No, I'm just kidding. Not just boomers. That's just happening. Sometimes it just happens.
Yeah.
And some people work just more.
That was a huge thing for me when I started, because we've got work phones, we've got our laptops, whatever, especially when you work from home. Your work is always here with you, and it's really sucky, but it's just the facts. What?
I was like, they can't get mad at you for not responding after 5.
Right, exactly. And I don't know that people really get that. I've had that happen a few times, and it's like, seriously, if you're offended by me not answering after 5 p.m. when I'm living my life, then you can have a talk with me face to face. Let's figure this out, because I'm not doing more after 5 p.m. So anyways, unless it's absolutely necessary, which I have done. However, in the last year or so, I made a rule to myself. I'm not that important. I'm putting my phone away and putting on Do Not Disturb until 7, 8 the next morning after 5. I don't look at it anymore. I don't think about it. I don't even do it, because it's not fair to me. I deserve to have that time off, to have that break, because it already eats up so much of your week. Your job is always there. So, I'm not that important to where I need to keep checking it 24/7. I don't take it with me anywhere after 5. I don't look at it. I forget about it. I forget I even have a job after 5 p.m. because that's what I have to do to keep myself sane.
Yeah.
And then this is another really good one. The pressure that I'm supposed to have my whole life figured out already.
Yeah, you don't have to have that. So 20 to 30, I would say that's your buffer period. 20
You
to
can
30.
make mistakes.
Do whatever you want in that period. Try and by 30 figure out what you want to do, how you're going to get there, whatever it may be. But yeah, if you're from 20 to 30, I wouldn't stress too much, because it's not crucial at that point.
Yeah. I'm struggling with time management.
Time management is hard. Time management will never be easy. You just have to have a priority list.
Allocating your time to, this is kind of what I'm feeling right now. It's like we allocate our time to work, to each other, to our other relationships with our friends and family, to stream, to our content, to blah, 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 blah. All these things is so challenging, and that's feeding into my crisis.
The way I deal with time management is I use Google Tasks, and with Google Tasks, you can set time and date of when it should be done. So I'll be like, okay, I have this task. It needs to be done by this date. And I'll get reminders every day. Hey, this task is coming up. Make sure you get it done. That's how I manage it. It took me a while to figure out, like, okay, I need something to actually remind me every day to figure that out. But after I started doing that, I've been a lot more on track on certain things. I'll still get lost sometimes, but the only reason I get lost is because of social media, watching too much content, watching too much TV shows, whatever it may be. That stuff needs to be cut out. If you want a productive life, you gotta cut that stuff out.
Well, the thing is, like, we live in such a world now where people thrive. I couldn't think of the word. I just made a bunch of noises. People thrive on content, consuming content. Our friend Alex said this the other day. People are just brain dead now. It's like you just scroll aimlessly, and it's like, haha, like you have a reaction every so often. It's like we're numb to so many things, and that can so affect with how productive you are in your life.
Yep.
Yeah. There are a few more that I'll read. Somebody else is struggling with not knowing how to prioritize my spiritual, emotional, and professional growth.
Okay. Let's see.
Those are a lot of big pillars
so spiritual
in people's lives.
Yeah, spiritual, it's like, your faith or whatever it may be, yoga, meditation, whatever. That stuff you need to focus on, I feel like.
That will keep you grounded.
That will 100% keep you grounded.
Because it's something that you can turn to in times of need and comfort yourself in something that isn't, say, your partner or whatever. It's like something like Saketu and I
spiritual,
like to go
something
and just
spiritual.
Breathe, yes,
Exactly.
like go pray, whatever it is. It can help keep you a little bit grounded.
That stuff is important. A lot of people like to put that off. It doesn't have to be religion. It can be meditation and yoga. That stuff can help immensely, more than even therapy. Some people say it's like if you can have 20 to 30 minutes of yoga or meditation a day. It's not a lot. Everybody says, 30 minutes is so... 30 minutes is nothing.
In the grand scheme of things.
It's nothing. And so if you can prioritize that much time for just your mental health, it's huge.
And that's what you got to do. So that ties into emotional.
Exactly. That if you can do that, your emotions are going to completely skyrocket.
Well, one thing that I've had to do, just because of all that I've said that I'm dealing with right now, for my mental health, I've got to go on some kind of walk and do some kind of exercise. Otherwise, it's like the end of the world. Mm-hmm. Like, that is one thing truly that keeps me so sane and helps me through all of this. Especially, like, I'll say, Skate, it's lunchtime. Do you want to go on a walk if we're working from home or whatever it is? Or on the weekend, we only go on really long walks. So there's a balance there. Like, I don't work out too hard, but I also just need to make sure, like, I get a good amount of steps in and, like, I'm outside. I'm a very nature-oriented person. And so doing that definitely helps all of my emotional growth and helps me to be able to focus on myself and just, take a step back and say, it's okay. You're doing great. You have room to improve, but we're going to take it a step at a time.
Yeah. And it's all about consistency. If you can do it every day, that's going to help. If you can't do it every day, it's not going to stick. It's not going to work.
And one thing that I love to do is journal. I actually have a Burn After Writing book that really has a lot of thought-provoking, deep questions, and it gets me thinking about myself and, this is how I feel about this, or whatever it may be. And it just allows me to take some time to think about it. And I feel like that's really helped me to grow, to think more, look within myself.
For sure.
So next one, balancing family time with college and personal aspirations.
Ooh.
That's tough, especially if you don't live with your family like anymore, you know? If you're farther away from them, it's like I want to FaceTime, but then again, it's like, oh, I'm so busy. I don't have the time to talk to my parents right now because one, I don't feel like talking about this. Like, this has been hard for me today. I don't want to share that, or I don't feel like I have the time, or I'm tired, or I just want to lay here, whatever it may be. It can still be hard to fit in time with your family. I get that.
That one's a hard one. I don't think I can even answer that question because it's difficult. That one's a difficult one.
Well, and me too, like having such a close relationship with my parents like I do, if I've had a rough day and I call them, they'll be like, hi, honey, how's it going? Or like whatever it is, I'll just break down. And sometimes I don't want to do that. You know, I just want to have a fun, lighthearted conversation. And it's like with your parents and your family, you can be so honest because you're, you know, like in such a good place with them and they're going to listen to you. And it's just like, I don't feel like doing that today. I don't feel like diving into everything that made me cry today or made me upset or like how hard today was or whatever it is. Oh, excuse me. Last one. I'm struggling with navigating an interracial relationship. You came to the right place.
Yeah, we forgot to talk about that topic. We're going to have a whole episode on this soon, guys, but it's difficult when you are trying to clash two different cultures, two different lifestyles, two different backgrounds.
Into one thing.
Yeah, and you're going to have disagreements. You're going to have arguments along the way, but
you're going to have hard days.
The biggest thing you have to remember is you love the person more than anything in the world.
Oh.
And you just have to work for it. Like I said, life isn't easy.
We had to work really hard for this relationship.
And so if you love the person, you can make it work. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some work. But you got to figure it out. And we're here to help. We're here to answer questions if you have anything really specific. But we will definitely have an episode soon about that, especially how to handle your parents in that situation, and how to, start a life together without the repercussions of some of the things that can happen within an interracial relationship.
Yeah. So with all that being said, all those great responses that we got from everybody, thank you for sharing those because that was really key for us to talk about. And it was really important to note all of those too, because those are all things that can feed into you having a quarter life crisis. And definitely, I hope this episode helped a lot of people, lets you know that you're not alone because that's, everybody's going through this. Everybody's got their own battles that you might not have any idea about. And it's important to recognize that, important to be there for people when they're struggling. Just like I have a great support system of you, Sylvie, and my family and my friends. And it's really important. So I'm glad that we talked about this. Like I said, you're not alone. That's probably the biggest thing to take away from this. There are many ways that people can be dealing with a quarter life crisis, and just know that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and 99% of the time it's not going to get any worse than it already has been or already is.
If you're ever struggling, reach out to somebody who can help, whether it be therapy or us. We're here to talk.
We're not licensed therapists, we're not licensed by any means,
but we can definitely chat. I know that we get a lot of DMs and we always try and respond back. If you have family who can talk to you, if you have friends, make sure you reach out and get some help. Absolutely. Yeah. But that's it, guys. It's been a great episode, Katie. Thank you for all your valuable input. Well, thank you for hosting, Hallie. Am I the host now? Hallie's kind of like the lead on this, everybody. So she's been doing a great job. Oh, thank you. And I want everybody to know that if you made it to this point of the podcast, I want you to yell in the comments. And to yourself. And to yourself. Especially if you're like in a library or something. Yeah. I am a free human. Okay? You can comment that. Nobody can tell me what to do. I'm my own person. You don't need to say that, but I'm just saying. Say that to yourself. Make that like human. Your mantra. You can do whatever you want, okay? I'm a free human. Remember just tell yourself every day. Build yourself up. Say, I'm amazing. I'm working so hard. I'm going to get out of this funk that I'm in. I've got a great team of people behind me who love me and support me. I can do this. Yep.
That's what
and
I
if
tell
you don't have a
myself.
team that supports you,
We support you.
we will support you.
Yeah.
And that's
Always.
all, everybody. Good night.
It's 11:49 a.m. So it's not good night.
Yeah. Well,
Not good night. We'll see you next Monday, right?
yes, we will.
At 12:30.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.
Woo.